Hey, welcome to Lecture 3. This is one of the most important lectures in Section 2 because Copilot Studio is the heart of the no-code agent building in Microsoft's ecosystem. We're going to cover topics, connectors, and knowledge, the four core building blocks. These are essential for all AB100 design questions. And at the end, I'm going to show you a live demo so you can see exactly how these pieces fit together. Copilot Studio lets you build agents without writing code. That's the headline. But what makes it powerful is how it structures that building process around four core components. Let me walk you through each one. Topics. These define conversational triggers and branching logic. Basically, topics answer the question, what conversation paths does the agent handle? When someone says, I need help with my order, a topic recognizes that intent and starts the right conversation flow.
Tools
are the tool calls and the integrations.
Tools
to answer the questions, what can the agent actually do? An action might send an email or create a record in a database or call some external API. This is where the agent stops just talking and starts doing. Now, connectors, there are over 1,000 pre-built connections to the enterprise systems. Dynamics, SharePoint, Teams, Dataverse, you name it. Connectors answer the question, how does the agent access data? They're the bridges to your actual real business systems. And knowledge. These are grounding sources that keep the agent accurate and reduce hallucinations. You can connect to SharePoint sites, websites, uploaded documents. The agent answers from your data, not just from what it learned during training. Here's how these components work together in a typical design flow. Step 1, a topic detects the intent from the user input. Someone types something and the topic recognizes what they're asking for. Step 2, an action calls a tool or an external service. The agent needs to do something so it triggers an action. Step 3, a connector fetches or updates data. That action uses a connector to talk to an actual business system. Step 4, a knowledge source provides context. Maybe the agent needs to look up a policy document or an FAQ or content to formulate a good response. Step 5, the response is generated and sent back to the user. Let me give you a real example. A customer support agent with a topic called escalate issue. When someone indicates that they need escalation, that topic triggers an action to create a case in Dynamics 365. The action uses the Dynamics connector to write that record. And knowledge from SharePoint provides issue resolution history so that the agent can give context to whoever picks up the case. Now, as I've said before, here's something that the exam really emphasizes. Copilot Studio comes with built-in security features. First, content filters to block harmful outputs. Data loss prevention policies to control what data can flow where. Environment isolation so that you have separate development, test, and production environments, and role-based access control to all of those. So here's your exam tip for this section. Questions often favor designs that show strong grounding and guardrails. If you see a scenario where the answer includes use Copilot Studio with knowledge grounding plus DLP, that's the safer, smarter choice. The exam rewards you for thinking about governance.
All right, I want to give you just a real quick overview of what you can do with Copilot Studio.
So I'm here on the home screen,
And you can see there's some options to create workflows or agents. You can also build these by selecting one of these items here. So if I say choose this create an agent, then I can kind of fill in the parameters, or I can just describe what I want the agent to do. So I might type in something like create a customer service agent, and it's going to give me about what I would get if I click on this. But you could create a more complicated prompt. So I've already created an agent because this does take a little bit of time. I created an agent called customer support agent. So let me just jump over to that and I'll show you what we configured for that. So you can see we can pick what model we're using, what large language model we're using. We can create a name and a description for this as well. Now, we talked a lot about guardrails. This instruction panel is basically your guardrails. It's where you tell the model what its purpose is and what it is allowed and not allowed to do. This, if you built agents through APIs, this might be considered your system prompt. This is to prevent the user from hijacking your prompt or using what we call a prompt injection attack and getting the agent to do something different than what it was designed to do, because the user has no access to this. And no matter what the user asks our model to do, it will constrain itself to the instructions at a higher level that we provided here. In this particular agent, I've told it that it can't use the internet and it can't use general knowledge. It can only use the stuff that I've provided it. I uploaded a Word document that just contains a product catalog. I'll go ahead and click on Add Knowledge, and it's going to come up, and you can see I can point to a OneDrive directory. I can point to websites, to SharePoint, to a whole bunch of different places where it can find context, things that it's going to look at and use. I've also created a couple of workflows that are listed under tools here. One is to check on the order status, and the other is to create a support ticket. And I'll show you what both of those look like here in just a second. If I wanted to show you what the knowledge or just looking at products might say, what products do you have? Simple bulleted list. And let's see what it comes back with. And it comes back and says, okay, we've got these widgets and gadgets. So those are things that are in that catalog that I listed. Now, to talk about the other parts of this, the workflow, I'm going to need to switch over and show you some databases that we've created. I just created a couple of database tables. So this first one is called orders. There's 4 orders in here. So you can see the data table populate here real quick. And the other one is the support tickets. So you see there's a couple of records there. So let's jump back over to our tool and let's ask about the status of one of these. So I'll ask about order number 1002. That's one of the orders in the database. And so you can see it's kind of giving me a trace of what it's looking at. So it parses out the order information from my query. It goes and looks up in the database the name of the customer, the status, and all of that kind of stuff. Now, it gave me an order status code instead of the actual name of the order status, and that's because of the way we set the database up. That's easily fixable. It's a multi-choice, but the text words. So I'd have to put in an extra condition to have it tell me something about that. Now I'm going to say my order number 2004 shows that it was delivered, but I didn't get it. So let's see what happens here. So we're going to go out and we're going to get the order status again, but this time it ran the other workflow to create a support ticket. So if I go over and look at that database again, so I'll just look at the rows that were created. And you can see that missing order did get put in for the order number 2004. The only other thing that's really kind of interest here is to look at those workflows, because most of the agentic AI or developing our AI really appears on that single screen where we talked about, described what our agent would do. Here are the two workflows. So the get order status workflow, the agent will provide us with the order number. We told it needs to provide the order number. So it parses that out of what the user typed in and fills that in. And then this next step is to go out and query the database. So our agent provides us with the order number. We've told it how to do the query, and then we tell it what we're going to give back. So we're going to pass back the order status, the order date, the product name, and so forth. And then AI can form its response from that. The create source ticket is very similar. Or we start off with what the agent provides. So the agent's going to, again, tell us what the order number was, but also tells us what the issue was. So again, harvesting that from the prompt that the user provided. So it parses that and figures out what it wants to fill these fields in with. And then we just create a new row in that database. And again, we're mapping from those input parameters. And for the response, we tell the agent to just tell the customer, hey, we created the support ticket. The Copilot Studio has decent tools to help you debug. So when we run these, we can see how they, what they did, what we came up with as a result. I can go over here. You can see my activities. I can go and look at each one of these and see what happened, why it worked or didn't work. And it took quite a bit of debugging to get this to work. To be perfectly honest with you, this did take a little bit of effort because I used Copilot to help me create all of this initially. And it really made a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that really didn't work, especially over in the Dataverse area. So I ended up deleting all of that and going back and recreating it really by hand. And I had a lot better luck with it because I control what everything is named and what's required and not required and things like that. So when I kind of leave it open and asked Copilot to create the individual pieces, it didn't do a really great job, especially on the database side of configuring that for me. It was better at doing it for the agent. It was the database that I had a lot of trouble with.
4 things to remember from this lecture. Number 1, Copilot Studio is your go-to for no-code agents. When speed and simplicity are priorities, this is where you start. 2, master the 4 core components: topics,
tools,
connectors, and knowledge. They'll come up repeatedly on the exam. 3, the exam loves grounded, secure designs. Whenever you can mention knowledge grounding or governance features, do it. 4, use Copilot Studio when speed and simplicity are the priorities. Don't overcomplicate when this tool can handle the job. In the next lecture, we're headed to the Azure AI Foundry. When and why to use custom models for more advanced agents. This is where things get powerful, but also more complex. I'll see you in the next lecture.